Yes.
Go the yarrow next to it.
Yes.
Hey, well, shall we make a start? Great to see so many people on with us this evening. So thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. And what have we got now? We've got 33 people with us. So that's fantastic. So well done to everyone for getting involved. So I hope everyone enjoyed Cheltenham and had a great time there, particularly on Wednesday. Those of you that are there on Wednesday, hope you managed to dry off, crikey. But great to bump into lots of Foxtrot members at Cheltenham last week. And I hope those of you watching at home had a little bit of success and managed to back a few winners. And good to see the British doing well as well up until the last day anyway. So well done to everyone that managed to find some winners at Cheltenham, and particularly to our champion for the Foxtrot Racing 10 to follow competition. So well done to A's Flyer. And I still don't know who it was that managed the team. So if it was you, let us know so we can find out how you managed to pick your 10 successful horses. But we've had Cheltenham, but also what a fantastic month we've had for Foxtrot Racing. 5 winners in the first 8 days of March. Absolutely incredible. Takes us to 7 winners for this calendar year and 29 winners for this season. Can we get to 30? Hopefully we can later on this week. But it's been an incredible time. We've also had, of our last 18 runners, 17 have won prize money. And the only one that didn't was Purple King, who fell at the last when looking sure to pick up some prize money. So our last 17 of 18 runners have all collected prize money. So it's been a terrific run we're on, and long may that continue. So I thought we'd start off this evening just by having a little bit of a review of our March so far. So I'm just going to play a little short video for you.
Whizkid runs down, it clips the top bar, nothing serious on the flat. Whizkid has got the race in safekeeping. Meanwhile, Edgar Allen Poe blunders badly but got away with it. Whizkid in calmer waters today, compared to the Tolworth hurdle, has hacked her first hurdle successful. Whizkid. Now Maracuja's upsize Indy Rocco with 1 left to jump. Heading towards the final fence, then Maracuja takes over. But Indy Rocco, who hasn't responded, having travelled well. Then in third place is Peacock Secret. Maracuja has moved about 4 lengths clear, being driven right out by Tristan Durrell, coming well clear towards the finish. Maracuja well clear from Indy Rocco in second place, then Peacock Secret in third. It's Maracuja, 106 up for the season for trainer Dan Skelton, 1 for Tristan Durrell, wins well at the end. Indy Rocco was second, third was Peacock Secret, clear.
Now towards the second last, and it's World Trip in the red headgear in the hands of Fergus Gregory. A couple of lengths clear with Bellamy now having to work on Midnight Glance to get on turn. Here's the penultimate flight, good jump from the leader, got over 2 lengths ahead. World Trip pursued by Midnight Glance. They've drawn away from Kilbrew Boy and Local Lincoln. Age of Whistle who didn't pick up and has weakened away. World Trip is safely over the last round in about 3 lengths clear. Midnight Glance is chasing, but it's only 100 yards to cover, and is now chasing in vain because World Trip is staying on strongly and draws away.
Pay the Woman, but Lucy Gardner and Military Tactic at quite a big price in second in a try and challenge. Jay Salma is in third. The rest are struggling a bit. Begin the Luck and Tarsim and Ace Time, as the lead is with Pay the Woman in front of, in second position, Military Tactic as they come to the second last. Pay the Woman, Military Tactic in second place, now ridden along. They're clear of Jay Salma and Begin the Luck and Ace Time. Pay the Woman is hard-ridden. Military Tactic is trying his best to get on terms with the leader, but she's still in front. Pay the Woman from Military Tactic in second, but only just. Pay the Woman to Military Tactic, less than a furlong to go. Here's the final flight. Pay the Woman jumped it well, landing running in second. Military Tactic, Pay the Woman going again to Military Tactic and close to the finish. Pay the Woman is now 3 from 3 over hurdles. She wins for Finn Lambert in second.
Just 2 lengths away, Purple King, who's travelled really well to this point for Jodie Sol. Back in fourth, All Right Jack is again being ridden along, and then a long break to Storm Rising and a yawning break to Global Agreement. They're making the turn in, 3 furlongs to go, and 2 more flights of hurdles to take in the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother Memorial Amateur Jockeys Handicap Hurdle, and it's Great Ocean, who now just noses to the lead over Be My Sea. Switched into the centre of the course is Purple King, Jodie Sol seeking second win in this race, and he's travelling as well as any as they jump the second from home. Great Ocean though and Charlie O'Shea had the lead, but they're now being eyeballed by Purple King on the near side. Be My Sea is back in third. All Right Jack in fourth, and it is Purple King who now begins to stretch and go clear, and he's over the final flight now with a lead of 4 lengths over Be My Sea, who's running a huge race in second. Great Ocean has emptied in third, and racing inside the final 150 yards, it is Jody Soul and Purple King going clear. A second win in this handicap hurdle for Jody Soul. Purple King wins. In second place, Be My Sea, getting up for third, All Right Jack, and in fourth, Great Ocean.
Well, some good memories from already in this month, and of course, big news away from the racecourse has been Anything for Love and Hogan's Height both being retired, and I'm absolutely delighted that Jamie has joined us this evening. Hi, Jamie, how are you?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, I'm so sorry I'm a bit late, but nice to see you.
Well, if you hadn't mentioned it, no one would have noticed, but I must say, you had me getting a bit nervous when I was thinking, where is he? I'm sure he's on here somewhere.
Better late than never.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect timing, you could argue. So what I thought I'd do, Jamie, just want to obviously catch up with you about Anything for Love and Hogan's Height. But if anyone or any of our members have got any questions for you, then what you can do is either put it into the chat box and I'll relay those questions on to Jamie. Or if you go to the bottom of your screen, there's a reactions button, and if you press that, you're able to sort of wave, and if you wave, we'll come to you and you can ask a question directly over the video to Jamie. The other thing just to mention, we're going to record this so that we'll put it onto YouTube for anyone not able to join us, so just be aware for everyone that it is being recorded. But Jamie, let's talk about Anything for Love to start with. Obviously, we've retired her, but she was an unbelievable mare for us, hasn't she?
Do you know what? She's been incredible. She really has, and we've been lucky enough to win some big races. Anything for Love's win at Sandown, albeit no one was there, was one of those memorable moments that listen, I will certainly remember. It was Paige's first graded winner. It was incredible, and I remember standing up in the stands that day in the pouring rain and shouting her home, and I was the only one in the stands that day. Incredible. It's definitely one to remember for good reasons and bad, obviously. But it was just a shame that no one was there to really enjoy the moment with us all. But I know you all did at home.
Well, I'm sure you celebrated for all of us at Sandown, so I'm sure you managed to get the party going. But it was certainly a brilliant day. And just tell us, Jem, obviously we've retired her. What's happened to her now?
So she's going to go and be covered by Walk in the Park, who, as we all know, is a really wonderful sire. Duvan was the horse that really sort of set Walk in the Park on fire, as it were, and John Bond, second to Constitution Hill at Cheltenham last week, is another good horse of Walk in the Park, and so she's going to go and be covered by him, and obviously she's a sister to a Gold Cup winner, so you'd like to hope that she produces some really useful offspring, and hopefully as time goes by, Foxtrot might be able to lease one of those.
Well, you never know. We certainly had a lot of fun with her. Of course, we also retired Hogan's Height this month. So just tell us your memories of Hogan's Height, Jamie.
Well, as wonderful as Anything for Love really has been, and she really has, I think Hogan's Height just tops them all, to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying this to the Foxtrot viewers, but he's been a very, very special horse to everyone in the yard. I suppose he's been here that much longer. Very, very many memorable wins. The standout obviously is that great Grand Sefton winner in 2019 before anyone had ever heard of COVID. He would have won the Grand National that year. There is no doubt about that. The fact he was balloted out of the virtual Grand National hurt a little bit. But no, he's taken us on a massive emotional roller coaster. He's had a few injuries and bits and bobs that we've had to patch up, but in a way that kind of makes it even more special. And he's a dear boy, and he'll be sorely missed from all of us at Folly House.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sorry if you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear my dog is barking. I think next door is getting a Tesco delivery. And one thing I've discovered, my dog does not like Tesco deliveries. So apologise if you can hear him barking away in the background at the Tesco man. I think one of the things for me that I've really enjoyed with Hogan's is, even though he was a bit of an old boy, which obviously Anything for Love wasn't, he kept going. And of course, we had a superb win with him at Ludlow early in the season. And I think it's one of the joys for me of national hunt racing is seeing these older horses that still produce it, still put in the effort. And I think, that's one of the reasons I think I've particularly enjoyed Hogan's Height, because he just keeps fighting. And even at his old age, he's still won races for us.
And the one thing that we would love any vet to tell us when they're vetting horses that we buy is how big that horse's heart is. I don't think Hogan was the best horse. I don't think he ever was the best horse. I don't think he was the most talented horse. He just had heart, and I love that. Absolutely love that. It epitomizes national hunt racing. And as you say, coming back and winning that race at Ludlow earlier on the season, it is what national hunt racing is all about, and it's why we all love it. Anything for Love was an absolute superstar and brilliant for all of us, and wonderful while it lasted. But it didn't last very long. 3 seasons with us, and that's why Hogan, he's been with us probably 6 or 7 years now, Dan. I can't really remember, but he's an absolute legend.
Yeah, absolutely. And just talking about attitude there, James, interesting you sort of mentioned that. I mean, how important do you think sort of guts is to a racehorse compared to just natural ability? It's something we talk a lot about in sport, sort of mental attitude and so on. And how much do you think it really does matter in racehorses? Huge.
There's a pain barrier in every sport. And everybody, whether you're a sportsman, woman, horse, athlete, whoever you are, you've got to get through that mental and physical pain to get out the other side and get the rewards. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of horses that just cannot, no matter what their talent is, they cannot have the mental and physical attributes to get through that pain barrier. And when you find a warrior, and I say it in no mean feat, when you find that warrior that really just, no matter what, just goes out there and grits his teeth and gets through life, it's wonderful. And you love it. Listen, we love all the horses, don't get me wrong, but when you have a horse that really does what Hogan has done, it makes us all a bit emotional, doesn't it? I mean, it really does. He's a darling horse.
Well, look, Jamie, before we go on, and I know we want to talk about our summer horses with you, and I know we've already got 1 or 2 questions for you. Let's just play a little video, which I'm sure everyone will enjoy, just looking back on Hogan Height's career and some of the memories that we've got from what has been a fantastic racehorse for Foxtrot racing.
Target over 2 from home. Bark de Clermont parts it like the Red Sea. That leaves Hogan's Height in front. Burbank also nearly came down. Hogan's Height will lead them into the wings of the final fence with a 2-length lead. Bark de Clermont in second. That time Shanro in Milan blundered his chance away. The mare Midnight Target's keeping on in second. It's Hogan's Height from Midnight Target. Bark de Clermont close home. Hogan's Height has won with a bit in hand for Messrs Sheehan and Snowden.
Has 4 lengths to find, and further back back to Midnight Merlot and Miss Amelia. So down the home straight they come. They're reaching the first in the home straight. Hogan's Height, the far side, jumped a little more fluently than quietly. A couple of lengths adrift is the Dollar Man, who needs a gear change but is beginning to get the message, and a little break back to Morton's Leam, and Hogan's Height's jumping is keeping him in this. He leads up by 2 lengths again over quietly. Now the Dollar Man in the blue jacket to the far side is attempting to get on terms as they approach 2 from home. Hogan's Height in a little bit tight that time, allowing the Dollar Man to close right up. Back in 30s quietly as they make the run to the last, and the Dollar Man is as close as he's ever been to Hogan's Height, but again Hogan's Height soars over his fence, and it is Hogan's Height by a length or so to in second place the Dollar Man, and he's finding plenty Hogan's Height. The Dollar Man is forced to switch towards the outside, but still a length and a half adrift. 2 out of 2 for Richard Johnson as Hogan's Height wins, makes all, beats into second place the Dollar Man in third quietly, and a break back to Midnight Merlot.
The far side Bolognese is under a drive on the left, half a mile to travel. Closing in on the 4th last, Hogan's Height, Just Georgie though driven up to mount a challenge. Good jump far side Hills of Dubai, then Bolognese and Barco de la Soleil, and it's Hogan's Height now on towards the 3rd last, still trying to see off the attentions of the persistent Hills of Dubai. Just Georgie has dropped a couple of lengths off him over the ditch. Hogan's Height, Hills of Dubai is having another crack at him. They're 3 lengths clear now of Just Georgie, then Barco de la Soleil. Bolognese looking held, still over a 1/4 mile to travel. The 2nd last, Hogan's Height from Hills of Dubai. Hogan's Height lands a length and a half clear. Hills of Dubai gathered up to have another go between the final 2 fences. Just Georgie sticking on willingly back in 3rd. Hogan's Height found a bit more under pressure here from Gavin Sheehan. He's moving on from Hills of Dubai. Here's the last. Hogan's Height gets over it with a prodigious leap. He lands 4 or 5 lengths clear of Hills of Dubai. Then Just Georgie and Barco de la Soleil, and Hogan's Height is coming clear on the run to the line. He's going to brush aside top weight and complete the hat-trick. The others are getting a little closer to him in the shadows of the post, but the race is won. Hogan's Height, too good for Hills of Dubai. Just Georgie in 3rd, and in 4th, Barco.
Legalised now moving into second place. Hogan's Height legalised. A Noble Warrior drops ground. Noble Warrior now struggling to keep up with the front 2. So Hogan's Height the leader by a length and a half. Legalised now coming to make a race of it. A gap then, quite a gap opening up to Vamonos and Noble Warrior. Making the run down towards the last hurdle. Hogan's Height and Legalised. Vamonos best of the rest. Hogan's Height at the last. Hogan's Height in front by about a length to Legalise second place. Gap then of about 5 lengths to Vamonos, who's attempting to stay on. They're on the run in. Hogan's Height's finding a little bit more at the moment. Hogan's Height, Legalise trying to come again. It's Hogan's Height from Legalise. Hogan's Height by just over a length. Hogan's Height sees off Legalise, makes all. Hogan's Height the winner. Legalise second. They're clear of Vamonos. Now, Hogan's Height has been left miles clear. Let's hope there's no drama at the final hurdle. Hogan's Height looking to win for the 2nd time at this track over timber. He's at the last hurdle. He doesn't have to rush, and he's jumped the last hurdle well. He's on the run in. So Hogan's Height was left with that sizable lead, and Chemin de Burlay made that unfortunate exit. Hogan's Height has won. The other 2 are now on the run in. Trans des Orbeaux and Samba Time, and they're coming to the line now with Trans des Orbeaux to take second.
They go over the Melling Road. They have 2 fences to go in the Virgin Bet Grand Sefton, and the leader is Kelaro Boy. Kelaro Boy running over these big fences for the first ever time, still has the lead. Around his outside now is Gold Present, the top weight, who's travelled really well into contention. Still right there, Flying Angel on the inside of Didero Vallis, and the red cap around the outside is Hogan's Height, another one who is debuting over the Grand National fences today. Bobay is next to the field, followed by Touch Kick, and then Wishful Dreaming, who's trying to stay on, having got outpaced early, and they're coming down towards the 2nd from home, tailing off now Gwen Silly Bearbus, and also Federici, who's going to be pulled up before 2 out, and on the outside it is Hogan's Height and Tom Cannon who now take the lead. Bobay will give chase into 2nd. On the outside, Wishful Dreaming is continued to stay on, so too is Touch Kick. The final fence of the Grand Sefton, and Hogan's Height has got the lead. Bobay was over in 2nd, Wishful Dreaming in 3rd, then Touch Kick and Didero Vallis. No more jumping to be done. They're racing towards the elbow. Tom Cannon and Hogan Hogan's Height around in front to Beauvais and Henry Brook in second. On the outside, Wishful Dreaming and Jonathan England. They're straightening up with just over a half furlong to go, and Hogan's Height, running over the Grand National fences for the first time, has jumped them with aplomb. He's run them ragged. A winner for Jamie Snowden and Tom Cannon. Hogan's Height has won the Grand Sefton. It's going to be close for second between Beauvais and Wishful Dreaming, followed in fourth by Flying Angel. In fifth came Didero Vallis. Others to finish, Touch Kick, Ultra Gold, and then last of those to finish was Kilaro Boy.
Bletchley Castle at the fourth last, joined by, on the near side, Hogan's Height. Coming there also is Haven't Time, and right behind them another Venture and Envious Editor. Over the next fence, that was the open ditch, and it was out in front, the new leader, Hogan's Height from Haven't Time. Bletchley Castle gives way back in third, and then another Venture, not that Frise. Envious Editor drops away quickly, is going to be pulled up as they race then towards the final fence. It's Hogan's Height with the advantage near side from Haven't Time. The far side, who makes a bad mistake and comes down and has fallen at the last fence, leaving Hogan's Height clear under Gina Andrews. And another Venture left in second place. Bletchley Castle, not that Frise, will battle out third, but Hogan's Height left clear at the last, goes on to take the Hunter's Chase from another Venture, not that Frise, Bletchley Castle, Unai and Ozzy Thomas.
Well, some great memories there of Hogan's Height. And James, just watching those races, it just reminded me what a phenomenal jumper Hogan's Height was. And how much do you think that makes a difference to National Hunt horses?
Watching those races back down, I don't know, why didn't we buy Midnight Target?
We tried. They wanted too much money.
Do you remember? I can't remember how much they wanted for her, but she did come out. She won at Cheltenham, didn't she? Do you remember?
Yes, Jamie, I do remember that. Yeah, she was too expensive, too much money.
Dear, oh dear. Oh, it was wonderful memories, wasn't it? And you're right, Dan. I think, his, apart from the size of his heart, the biggest asset he ever had was the way he jumped. Even the way he jumped the last hurdle at Catterick when he was miles clear, didn't he? He absolutely winged it. Jumping was always his. I remember when you guys came up for a morning on the gallops and we saw him jumping. I said, "Wait till you see he jumps the fence. He's electric." Jumping was always his massive forte, and wow, still gives you a good smile when you watch those races back there, Dan. It's wonderful.
Great, good. Well, many happy memories of both Hogan's Height and Anything for Love, of course, was looking at her stats. She won 16 of her 13 races, which is quite phenomenal, particularly when you consider there's, the quality of races that she was running in. So two fantastic horses with you there, Jamie, and we'll miss them a lot. But thank you very much for all the great times that you allowed us to enjoy with Hogan's Height and Anything for Love. But look, moving forward, and just before we finish, Jamie, we've had a couple of questions, particularly about summer horses. So let's look forward. Now, we've got 3 horses for the summer with you. Fortunate Fred, Beholden and Night Fever. Had quite a few questions just asking about those. So can you give us an update on those 3 horses?
Yeah, so Beholden came in a bit of time ago, and he's doing really well. He's just started some fast work now, and I like him. He's going well. Obviously, last summer was very good. He won a couple of times, and slightly unfortunate on a couple of occasions, but he was never out of the first 3. He goes well, Dan. He really does. And I think there could be an opportunity on the flat with him as well as over hurdles. And certainly by the end of it, he was jumping his hurdles a bit like fences as well. So you'd like to hope that we've got a future in all disciplines, both handicap hurdling on the flat and as a novice chaser as well. So it's good. He's coming along great. Certainly looking forward to him this summer.
Brilliant. So, and obviously we've got Night Fevers over at Clare Harts at the moment. Night Fever,
yeah. So she was obviously, I've only met her once when she popped in here for a day to show you all. So she's obviously a really exciting horse to go novice hurdling with this summer, having shown some useful form on the flat. She was obviously in pre-training over at Clare. She's picked up a bit of a sarcoid on her neck. Nothing more sinister than that. They've just had the sarcoid taken off up at Clare's, and obviously they've just had to keep, because it happens right on the neck where the reins are. They won't be able to ride her for a week or so. So she's just been lunging. Obviously she's done a fair bit of fitness already, so she won't lose a huge amount, but she'll just be lunged for a couple of weeks up at Clare's, and then when the sarcoid's all healed up, then she can come down to us.
Brilliant. That sounds good. And then just Fortunate Fred just got a bit of a cut at the moment, so just having a little bit of rest. Is that right?
Yeah. So Fortunate Fred, he's as fresh as paint, and on the way back from exercise last Saturday, he just kicked out and caught a rail. Just got a cut on the front of his near hind joint. No dramas at all. But obviously we were just exercising him last week, but it just, because it's over the front of the joint, when he was exercising, it just wasn't allowing it to heal. So I think we just got to leave him in his box for a week, 10 days, let it begin to knit, and then once it's knitted, then he'll be able to exercise and it'll be fine. So just a 2-week spell, 10 days, 2 weeks, just in his box, let it all knit up, and then we'll be away again. But I like Fortunate Fred. He was placed in a bumper, and obviously we went hurdling with him. Andrew Brooks had him, and Andrew's not one to sort of hang around with a horse too long, but sometimes he's a little bit quick to pass judgment. Guinness Affair came out and won 3 on the bounce when he sold him, and hopefully Fortunate Fred's going to go and do the same. He showed good form both over hurdles and in a bumper as well. For us, I like him, and he can certainly be winning races. He'll definitely jump a fence too. So he's a really exciting horse for the summer.
Brilliant. Well, lots to look forward to with our string with Jamie. And Jamie, final question that we've had in. So let me ask you this: are you going to have a record-breaking season in terms of number of winners this year?
Listen, we all want to break records. Of course we do. So our record is 46 winners. I think it was £380,000 or something like that. We're over the I think we're 420 odd thousand, £430,000. So we've broken the prize money barrier. We need 3 more winners to break the winner barrier, or 4 more winners to break the winner barrier. So very much hoping that we do, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. As we know in this game, don't count your chickens.
Well, look, Jamie, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. It's always great to hear from you, and I really appreciate you giving up your time. But particularly, thank you for all your hard work with our horses. We've obviously sort of lost from the Foxtrot team Anything for Love and Hogan's Height, but we've got some fantastic horses in training with you, and the future looks bright. So lots to look forward to. So thanks to you and your team for all your hard work with our horses.
Well, you're very kind, Dan, and I would just like to say here that both Anything for Love and Hogan have been a real part of the furniture here at Folly House, and we've been honoured to have them. And so thank you, Dan. Thank you, all the team. It's a huge privilege to have horses of those calibre in the yard here, and we're all thrilled and looking forward to the future, obviously with the new team coming in, but just wanted to say a big thank you.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks again, Jamie, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Dan.
So let's change tack a little bit, and in a moment we're going to be joining Dr. Richard Newland for an update on our horses there. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, you can either use the chat button at the bottom or use the reaction button at the bottom, and stick your hand in the air, and then we can come to you live to ask any questions. But before we do that, we're going to hear from Phil King, because you may have seen in our weekly update that we've been keen to have put together a cycling team for a racing welfare charity event. So I'm going to ask Phil to tell us a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Dan. Right, evening everyone. Just to run through, I think you saw in the newsletter there that basically there's a cycling event run by the Jockey Club, actually running from Cheltenham on the hello, can you hear me all right there?
Yeah, okay, we can hear you fine. Yeah,
sorry, I can't see, nothing's coming through on there. That's fine, that's brilliant. Okay, so just to recap, yeah, there's an event on the 16th and 17th of July based at Cheltenham Racecourse, and it's like they're looking after the hospitality, food, everything else, and basically it's a 24-hour cycle event. It's not a race, it's basically an event to raise money for the racing welfare. It's a 24-hour event, so it starts at midday on the Saturday, finishes on midday on the Sunday. Really, it's a team of 4. 2 of the 4 will be cycling for 30 kilometres, and the other 2 will be resting up and having drinks and food or whatever they need, and rest and sleep. And then when the other two go out, and it's a continuous, like a relay, basically. It's not a race. That's what I want to say to anyone who's interested. It's not how fast you can do it. It's a case of raising money for charity. It's based at, say, the racecourse at Cheltenham, and really, I'm already committed to do this. I said to Dan, I don't mind doing that. I just really need 3 other people to join me on this and to have a great weekend and raise some good money for a good cause. So if anyone's got any questions, obviously they can come back to Dan or to me or whatever, and let's see if we can get a good team going and have a good weekend.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Phil. It'll be great to be able to put a Foxtrot team. We've had a Foxtrot Golf Day. We've got a Foxtrot team in the Racing Syndicate's Golf Day in May, so we're going to be competing in that. And wouldn't it be great to support such a fantastic racing charity? So Phil's already committed to doing it. We just need 3 more cyclists. I know we've got a few people that are thinking about it. It sounds pretty easy to me. I'd love to do it, but unfortunately I'm in Sweden that week, so I just can't get there. But you know, otherwise, I mean, let's get involved and let's do it. So hopefully we can get together a team of 4 to be involved. And Phil, thank you very much for trying to drum up the support and agreeing to do it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, let's move on, and I'm delighted that our second guest of the evening is Richard Newland. So Richard, hi, how are you?
I'm very well, Dan. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good. Well, thanks again for giving up your time this evening. It's very much appreciated. You've got some good pictures there. Now, I noticed one picture just behind you that looks a familiar horse, actually. Good to see Ronnie on your wall. I'm looking a bit more to your left. Ronnie on your wall.
Where am I looking? He is there. There's definitely Ronnie's there. Yeah.
Good. So earlier on, Richard, we watched a video of our first week of March, and you sandwiched the other winners with WizKid winning at Catterick and Purple King winning at Sandown. It was a fantastic week for Foxtrot, and you obviously contributed very much towards that great week. So let's start off just by talking about WizKid, who was our first winner of March. Now he runs at Ludlow on Wednesday. Is he going to win?
Well, that's a very direct question to start with, and pretty unfair, but I'll take it. I very much hope so. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't win, because the race actually has cut up, I think, so he'll be a very warm favourite again. I was really, really delighted with him at Catterick. I know he beat the square root of nothing, and we've got to remember that. I mean, the race fell apart, but he couldn't do much about it. He just galloped relentlessly, and it looked like he'd have won very comfortably, whoever would have been there, or certainly if everyone stood up and finished their races. It's also a relief, because I think we felt he's a good horse from day one, and of course at Sandown it was very disappointing, albeit 5th at Constitution Hill doesn't look quite as bad now, but his wind went that day, and he's had a wind surgery since, and it was great to see him come back. And you never quite know, and we still don't know indeed for Ludlow on Wednesday, will his wind catch him out again at some point? And but no, we'll know a bit more by Wednesday afternoon where we're at with him.
Great. Well, hopefully a horse to look forward to. And of course, Purple King was then our 5th winner in the week, and really good, I think, particularly to sort of see his owners perhaps being rewarded for showing a bit of patience.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that big thrill, Purple King. Just before I come to that, just on Whiz Kid, for those involved in Whiz Kid, plan is Wednesday will be our 3rd race. When you've got your 3 runs, we'll get a mark and you can run in any handicap. I'm serving a bit of a problem. If he does repeat what he did at Catterick, we're giving the handicapper a bit of a problem because he's not got much to measure us against. And we'll see what mark we get. But if we get a favourable mark, then I'd like to think we could pitch him in a big handicap. And my eyes were on the Novice Championship final at Sandown, for which he's qualified from his Catterick win. That's a £100,000 race on Bet365 day, the last day of the season. That would be a possibility, or indeed the Swinton two weeks afterwards at Haydock, which we were lucky enough to win a couple 2-3 years ago with Le Patriot. So, but this is about experience on Wednesday, and then get your handicap mark, and then we assess where we're at, really. On Purple King, couldn't be more thrilled. Purple King and actually Mason Jaru, and I know it's not happened for him yet, but I think it will happen for him if we're lucky. Both of them coming back from injury. We know that injury is the biggest frustration in racing. Everyone has to be very patient. There's really nothing more you can do. People have tried fancy veterinary treatments, just cost you more and more money. And in my experience, doesn't change the outcome one way or the other. But it's something that I know we might be coming to this in a bit, but we've been training those horses exclusively on a deep sound canter that we put in, which was finally operational for about just coming up 12 months ago. And that has been a bit of a game changer for us with these horses. It's still fairly early days, but the vast majority of these horses coming back from injury are coping very well on that, because I think they're getting fit without going at great speeds. Now you do have to at some point put them on the race track, and obviously you've got to see where they retain their enthusiasm and ability. Now Purple King's win at Sandown was absolutely superb. Love that. And there's nothing more satisfying, I'm sure Jamie Snowden on before would agree, than seeing one of your favourites come back and do well. Muggins here got overexcited and ran him a week later on the wrong track, and I do apologise. And fortunately, he fell at the last. Everything went wrong. Track didn't suit. Things just didn't happen right. If I could have, it's one of those things where after the second fence, if I could have pulled him out and taken him home, I would have done. And said, "I'll forget this. We got this wrong," but it was too late. But fortunately, he's come out of that fine. We're just giving a bit of time to get over that, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't go very well again. And it was a bit of an eye-opener to see how well he handled the soft ground at Sandown. So maybe that at least gives us more options.
Great. Well, I wrote out some questions about a week ago, Richard, to ask you. And one of the questions was, how's the yard's form bearing up? Well, I now feel a bit of an idiot asking that question, since your last 3 runners have all won. In fact, I think you're 4 wins from the last 6 runners. So great to see the yard in good form. And so let me broaden that question a little bit and ask about the new yard. I mean, do you feel you're now really settled in? You've got a good understanding of the gallops and how to use them and so on?
Yes, and I do. And first of all, thank you for highlighting our good form, which we certainly have hit doubles on Friday and Saturday. But you're right. I think you used the right word there when you say settled in, because it does take time when you change regimes, change gallops, to work out what you need and what you want. And people will know that I've kept my old yard going and ran the old yard and the new yard in tandem for quite a while. We've closed the old yard down now. As it stands, this is about 2 months ago. We don't have any horses at the old yard. All the staff are at the new yard. I mean, the old yard is still there, but I'm talking to you from it because I'm still living here. But the boxes are empty. But we'll use it probably for mares and foals and breeding and so on and so forth. So, but you know, I tell you someone else who's just had a great result. I say someone who's had a great result. Harry Fry. You know, he had a lovely winner, but Harry's changed yards and he's definitely found it hard, and it's taken him a while to get back anywhere near really where he was before. And so, you know, and he'll talk openly about it if you hear him on interviews and so on. It's not easy, and there's plenty of trainers in the past who've changed yards and they've fallen off a cliff I could start naming them, but I don't want to embarrass anyone. But there are certain trainers where that's been the case. So you can't do it without the facilities. And when you've had a facility that's worked so well for you, to change is really a bit scary. You might ask, why did we do it? But there are 100 reasons why that's the case. But no, now I think we're there pretty much. Putting the sand canter in, i.e. the second gallop, having the two different facilities, the fast 6 furlong the 6 furlong Martin Collins hill gallop, although it's not steep, and the deep sand canter complement each other well, give us more options, and we seem to be learning how to use it properly. I mean, we've certainly trained since we started at Earl Oxley. We've trained well over 100 winners now, so I think we're beginning to know what we're doing.
Brilliant. Well, long may that success continue, and I think it's a credit to you and your approach that you've managed to do that transition, if you like, into the new yard so well. And I think your attention to detail has played a crucial part in the success that you've had already in the new yard, and I'm sure it will continue. But Richard, look, let's just look ahead a little bit. And obviously last year we did the red caps. I got the impression you rather enjoyed the red caps last year, because you came to me and said, let's do it again.
Absolutely. I absolutely love it. And I think we've got a great team for this year, and I'm sure we'll come to it shortly. But it was just, there's a nervousness that when we bought it from a personal point of view, one of my biggest roles is recruiting the horses, buying horses, and then putting them in the right races. That's a key element of my role. So it's very exciting to sort of, if you like, challenge myself or be challenged to recruit a team of 5 new horses, and then you've got to hit the ground running. And I was thrilled that last year we got, I think, 6 wins out of it, and 4 of the 5 horses won. And so, when you're trying to buy what I call budget horses to do that, it's easier said than done. So, but I love the challenge. It's very exciting. We've paid a bit more for the horses this year, pushed the boat out a bit more. And, I think we've got a very strong team with a nice sort of varied portfolio of horses. But you're right that I really enjoy it. It's superb fun, and I like it as a concept. And I hope we can do it not just this year, but and future years.
Great. Well, let's look ahead. We're all looking for a tip for the summer. So let's talk about those red caps horses. So we've got 5 of them. Shall I name them and you tell us a little bit about them? Is that a way to do it?
Yeah.
So we've got the first one, then, Galata Bridge.
Yeah, Galata Bridge is the only horse in the team that we did have last year. So we haven't bought him at the sales. But what happened is that the previous owner, who paid a heck of a lot of money for him, I can't remember, 80 grand, I think he paid for him. I mean, Galata Bridge was a high-class flat horse trained by Michael Stout, and the new owner bought him. And we ran him at Royal Ascot last year, and he was only beaten 3 lengths in 6th, running off the mark of 95, 96. And subsequently went over hurdles, and he won very easily at Plumpton. But after his last run, the owner was a bit disappointed and decided he wanted to sell him. And so I acquired him from him. I bought him. Now, he's rated 90, still rated 93 on the flat, but he's rated 110 over hurdles. Well, people who understand that 90, that suggests that 110 should not be the ceiling of his ability. And he's only had 3 hurdle runs. He's got a lovely attitude, and he's got plenty of ability. His challenge, his biggest challenge, is he has had a difficult wind in the past. So, a bad wind. He had that from Michael Stout's days. And we bit the bullet and did a full tie-back operation, which is a big operation. But that was prior to his successes last year. We did that straight away after we'd got him. So he probably does want fast ground. Tearaway is not the right answer, but he's a strong galloper. He's relatively keen. He'll gallop them into the ground, a bit like WizKid, hopefully. But no, he's a lot of horse for the money, if I can put it that way. And by a sire that's quite interesting, Golden Horns. Yeah.
Well, he certainly sounds one to look forward to on the quicker ground this summer. So let's move on to Hypnotic.
Hypnotic would be one of perhaps one of the darkest horses. He's only a young horse, just turned 5. He's already won in France. He won a bumper, and he's won a decent hurdle race. And so he's got plenty of ability. He's not an over big horse, and his his chasing runs, I was less convinced by, but he is still a novice over fences, which will help, gives us more options. But he's rated, they've actually given him a mark now of 120. I thought it could be even higher on his French mark, but he's got a mark of 120 over hurdles and fences. He's a young horse with proven ability. I think we'll start him off in a handicap hurdle or whatever, just to feel our way, see what we've got. So it's good. He's settled in extremely well into the routine. He's a very straightforward horse. I wouldn't say he's flashy, but he's been a very easy horse to train so far. And I'm touching wood. Not a lame stride, not a difficulty, no problems, not one that's saying, Richard, come and look at this. So that's a good sign. But certainly a young horse with ability. Yeah.
Great. And so that's 2 down. Captain Cobra J.
Well, Captain Cobra J was bought as a sort of, he's a sort of, at the other end of the scale from Hypnotic. He's a proven entity. He's run plenty of times, and he's run plenty of times, but he's one of these funny horses. I say he's funny horses, a 2-mile chaser that's retained his enthusiasm. Seems to sort of win every year. He's won twice last year. He bounces off the ground and he wants a sharp 2 miles. And funny enough, I ended up by fluke speaking to his previous trainer in Ireland, who was asking all about him, because I was ringing about another horse just the other day, and he was singing his praises. He will be a fun horse. He's one where he might be one to get out relatively soon. There are 1 or 2 we need to get started on fairly soon. Really just to, hopefully, if he runs a bit on a couple of runs on soft ground, they'll give him a few pounds back, and then ping, he'll be going in again when he's ready. But he'll be one of those exciting horses and 2-mile chasers who doesn't hang about. He loves his job.
Brilliant. He sounds good. And where are we? Mr. Woody.
Mr. Woody, dark horse. Think he could be very well handicapped. 8 years old. He was nicely bred by Chantu. He's the one I mentioned in the video clip that he High Flyer paid 54,000 for him as a store before he'd run, because he looks the part. And started life with Nicky Henderson. Well, he's not turned out to be Nicky class, but he's ended up with an owner in Wales, a chap called Andrew Leishan, who has trained in the past, but never trained a winner. And Andrew, he's based near Grace Harris. The horse actually ran in Grace's name. There's one of these funny ones, but actually was being trained by his owner. He came second at Uttoxeter last year, just checking my notes, yeah. And he has a mark of 79. Now, 79 is real basement mark. We wouldn't want him any lower. But I think there's a big chance this horse could be very well handicapped just with a change of scenery, change of yard. And actually, again, I'd say the signs are extremely positive. We're seeing he looks a bit better than 79 at the moment, certainly from all the work he's doing. So they're not 100% wound up, but we're getting closer to the point where we're beginning to learn quite a lot about them. So he's a nice big horse. So he'd be one that you would think, and he's been running a point to point, you'd like to think you could mix hurdles and fences. And some people will know that when we campaign these horses in the summer, sometimes we try and be a bit cheeky, running a hurdle on a Monday and then the back end of the following week running the chase with no penalty. He'd be ideal for that, as long as his jumping holds it up together for his chasing. So yeah, hopefully very well handicapped. And one very significant thing to me is I had to pay more for him actually than I thought I would at the sales, at Ascot sales. But the underbidder was Grace Harris. So Grace Harris, who wasn't training, but was training her name, knew full well what was going on, and she wanted the horse. So I had to push the boat out a bit to get him, but got him. We did get him. So I think we have to think that's a very good sign, the fact that she had trained in her name and wanted to get him back. So that's good.
Great. And then finally, Tip Top Tonto.
Tip Top Tonto is an interesting character. He's on one level incredibly well bred. His half brother was King's Palace, who was a top horse for David Pike, died prematurely. It was rated 152 plus, a really good chaser. I think he's an exciting horse. I think he'll stay well. He's a young horse. He's 6. He's only running 3 bumpers. But if the little but and the excitement to see will be his mother was a bit quirky. She was good, but she was a bit quirky. And there's maybe a little bit of a quirk in him. But don't take that as a negative. See this as an enigmatic talent that when he comes through, he likes his jumping. He's taking his jumping well. He will every inch going to be a chaser as well as a hurdler. And, he didn't run badly in his bumpers, actually, given what I'm saying, that this horse would be a horse that might improve, you know, with a little bit more time now. He ran I'm just looking at his second bumper. I think he finished 5th, but I think there was only a length between him and second. You know, it was, if you think of him as a 3-mile chaser and you look at a bumper runs with ratings 98, 100, I think that's not too scummy. So I'm very happy to have him anyway. And actually, again, I know Rebecca Menzies was the underbidder. It was her horse, and she pushed me a bit to get him. So I'm excited about it. So we've got a nice balance between proven, young and exciting hurdlers, chasers. Lots to look forward to.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure everyone, particularly those in the red caps, but everyone in Foxtrot will want to follow those horses through the summer. And looks like you've assembled a very exciting team. I hope it didn't cost you too much, Richard. So
yeah, we're fingers crossed it'll work out. Yeah.
Good. Well, look, I'm getting lots and lots of questions through on the sort of on my messages. I know some are on the general message board as well, but I'm getting lots of sort of private questions. So we'll come to those in a second. But just before that, Richard, I think increasingly I really look forward to the summer racing, the national hunt racing. And I know maybe the traditionalists will say it's not proper jumps racing, but actually I really enjoy the fact that I can drive home in the light and I can go and turn up in my short sleeves and not be freezing cold in a jacket and a hat. And what's sort of your take about, obviously you have quite a few runners in the summer, what's your view about summer racing, winter racing, and is it traditional and so on?
Well, I've always loved it. And I still love it. And, you know, I think most of what I would call the top summer tracks do a very, very good job with their watering and looking after the ground and so on. You know, when we're going to Worcester and Stratford, and Raisin do a good job. But I'm thinking of Worcester and Stratford, specialist summer tracks. You know, they don't go right the way through the winter. So that you're starting with fresh ground. They also have, I'll take Worcester as an example, they're able to provide with fresh ground all the way through. And they do a good job watering because they know if they didn't, they don't get any runners. So generally, I think it's dramatically improved from where it was 15, 20 years ago. They have a good program of races. It suits a certain type of horse. I mean, you know, obviously, if you've got a superstar, one of the reasons some of the really big yards might not want to run too much is there aren't races for them, even if they wanted to go in the summer. Now, so that's fine, but you know, as long as you're smart enough to put the right horses in your summer team and keep your winter horses for the winter team, it's fine and it's a lot of fun. And just on that point about getting home, I mean, you know, I've got a new syndicate at the moment approached me recently wanting a horse. I said, do you want a summer horse or do you want a winter horse? We talked about the pros and cons. I think we like a summer horse. And I think the reason they want a summer horse is because it's all very well and good, but if there's 5 working guys and you ring them and say, we're running at Fontwell next Tuesday and they're in the 12:30, well, they won't get there. But if we're in the 8:15 at Uttoxeter and they get run after work for a summer's evening racing, wow, they're going to enjoy it. And, you know, so from an experience for the customer, we've got to remember, you know, who the customers aren't the trainers here, then it very often, as you've highlighted, trumps the winter racing experience. So, you know, a freezing cold 12:30 at Hereford or wherever. But, you know, I've always enjoyed it, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. We seem to have a pretty strong team for this year with a lot of our old favourites coming back. So, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them on the track.
Brilliant. Well, let's take a couple of questions that I've had through the messages. And I'm going to start off with a slightly negative one, but I don't want to duck any difficult questions here. So first of all, injuries, which we know are a big frustration. And you mentioned before about the sand gallop in terms of rehabilitation of those horses. But the question is, has the sand gallop, do you think, helped prevent injuries in addition to helping horses come back from injuries?
Yes and yes. I think it's doing both. We're actually getting less in. I know we've had some bad luck. The trouble is, racehorses, thoroughbred racehorses, you're always going to get tendon injuries. It's only a question of how many and whether you can bring them back from those injuries. It's just part of the sport, unfortunately. And of course, they have got a race. So let's take a disappointing one at the moment would be King Arise. Although he's rehabilitated very well, and funny enough, it's on my list of things to speak to you about, Dan, to say that we're going to turn him out tomorrow, because he's done all his box rest. He's had more than a box rest. He's ready to be turned out. He's progressing well. But lovely young horse, and definitely a horse that we should be persevering with. But, you know, it's all well and good me saying to wrap them up in the sand canter, but if you're trying to win races, at some point, they've got to come under pressure, they've got to fatigue, and they've got to do it in the last furlongs, the last couple of hours, and that's when they tend to be at their most vulnerable. What we're doing with the sand canter is we're taking a bit of the speed out of it. We're just trying to slow it down, but without losing fitness. There's no point. You can slow it down and we can put everything in a hack canter and trot around the roads. We won't get a tendon injury, but we'll never win a race. So you've got to get them that level of fitness, but it's getting them there, keeping them there without them breaking down. And it's always, I mean, I should be a bit guarded in answering this, because you never know. We will get injuries, whatever surface we use. But I feel that the injury rate's quite a lot lower on the sand canter before and after, and it is our predominant gallop now.
Interesting. Now, can you give us a horse, a non-Foxtrot horse, to look out for this summer? Everyone just get their notepads out. Everyone's going to grab a pen, Richard. Which horse that's obviously not running in Foxtrot colours should we be keeping an eye out for this summer?
Okay, well, I will give you a Foxtrot one in a minute, but a non-Foxtrot one. I'll mention two horses. One, by the way, that wonderful video you were showing of Hogan's Height winning the Sefton. Of course, I couldn't. My eyes were glued to the horse in second, Bow Bay, following him in, mile, and then of course he came back the following year and won the same race. We've lost him now, sadly. He broke a leg at Chepstow, but they were great memories. But on that subject, people might want to look out for a horse I've got called Dashing Perk, we've had for a long time now, really. He's 11 years old, because he's been trained for the Aintree Fox Hunters. And he was laid out for it last year, and he's the best, one of the very best jumpers anyway we've ever had. And unbelievably, he's a front runner as well, and unbelievably, Sam Whaley-Curran was riding in. He just thought, shall I go or shall I hold? At first he thought, they're going on a cavalry charge, took a slight pull. As he jumped the first, the one on his left jumped a yard to the right, and the one on his right jumped a yard to the left. And we were the meat in the sandwich, were brought down at the first. Anyway, we've naively, stupidly, or whatever, since the beginning of January, we've laid him out to have another go at the race. So Dashing Perk in the Aintree Fox Hunters might be worth it. He's going exceptionally well. He bows better fresh. So I'm just hoping for his owner, who's terribly unlucky there, that we're going to have an exciting run. Whether he's good enough to win it remains to be seen. One for the summer would be Barzem, Baasem, Barzem. My cousin Chris Stedman owns him, bought him at Newmarket Sales. It's one of those unfortunate ones. I'm pretty certain that the agent, I wasn't there at the time, and it was all done at rather short notice, and the agent who we use regularly, I won't name him, missed the fact that he had a bit of a leg. So we've had to be patient. So he's come back from a leg. But I think on the flip side, of course, is if they come back, you might have got a pretty big engine on your hands if they do come back. And he certainly looks like a very, very good horse. And he's taken to hurdles extremely well. I mean, he's 90, he's been up in about 90 rated flat horse. He's a little similar to Wizkid in that way, but maybe even with a bit more substance to him. But no, I don't want to belittle Wizkid because we're very excited about him. But no, Barzem looks like one that I'd be disappointed if he wasn't winning his novice hurdle at Worcester in the summer, that's for sure.
Now, Richard, I've got some bad news for you, because Dashing Perk might be going for the Fox Hunters. But do you remember when Hogan's
oh, no, you're right.
Bow Bay at the last? Well, I'm afraid Maracuja will be aimed at the Fox Hunters as well. So
it'd be too good for us as well.
Repeat.
All right. Well, we'll run for a place.
In fairness, what people won't know is when Hogan's Height won, I think, Richard, you ran over to me and congratulated me and all the syndicate, and with general, complete enthusiasm. And I think it said an awful lot about you that we'd just beaten your big hope for the race. And the very first thing you did was come and congratulate all the Foxtrot members, and really, with genuine delight. And I think that says an awful lot about you and your approach. So you know.
Well, those fences are special, aren't they? I mean, that special memories. I'm lucky enough to have had a couple of special memories there. So 3 actually, but it's just something incredible about those fences. When it works, it's magical, and when you've seen it unfold in front of you, winning the Sefton, I know how magical that is. Brilliant feeling.
Yeah, no, that was a great day. Well, we've got our notebooks out, so thank you for those tips. Now, just we've got quite a lot of people which are just asking about 45 West. So
yeah.
Could I just mention him, because obviously he's had a little bit of a bleeding issue, and hopefully now I think sort of coming back in. Just can you just give us an update on sort of where we're hoping to go with him going forward?
Yeah, 45 West. I mean, it's been a bit underwhelming so far. That's the honest truth, isn't it? But there's a horse in there. There's a good staying horse in there, and he's well handicapped now. And he really wants 3 miles. And let's put it this way: I would be loath to lose him at this stage, because I think we've done the hard work. We've got him handicapped. He's educated. It's fine. Now, it's sod's law that when he went to Fosslas, it was Fosslas, wasn't it? Yeah, he bled. And when you bleed like that badly, there's 2 things you can do. You can sort of try and delude yourself and pretend, oh, well, it might be okay. Let's run again in 2 weeks' time. And then I guarantee you they just bleed again and they pull up just as badly. Or you take it on the chin, you turn him out, you freshen him up. There's something wrong there. There was something wrong there. So all we've done is we've turned him out, plenty of green grass, break, make a start, and we're now going again. So he's had a short break, about 6 weeks or so. And he's now, as of this week, coming back into training. Now, when you've had a shorter break, you should be able to get him back quicker, which is good and necessary. We don't want anyone having to wait for 4 months to find out again. But it's long enough that we can hopefully get over what he's had. And, we need to see what he can do. But, it's not a route we normally go down, but, he has really been running over inadequate trips and so on. So we like to think the fun's all ahead of us. But obviously, I recognise now there's a question mark over him with that bleeding. So he's got to prove what he can do. But I personally, if I own him, I wouldn't be giving up on him just yet, because I think you'll find otherwise we might have a disappointment watching him go to someone else and them having all the fun.
Well, I think we've got time for probably 2 more questions. So I'm going to give 2 questions that have been sent over the chat. So first of all, Richard, you've had a 20% strike rate over the last 5 years. What do you put that success down to?
Well, thank you very much. I'm very pleased when I see that stat. It gets harder though. I think but the key things are buying the right horses and putting them in the right races, I think. Now, you've got to have a training regime that gets horses fit. But beyond that, I hope there's a good positive, a bit of skill going on in terms of selecting the right horses. We've never really changed the methodology, if I'm honest. We still like to buy, if for example, a horse is trained by Joe Bloggs in Ireland and he's only had 3 winners this year, I'd be more interested. If the same horse comes out of Willie Mullins, we're probably going to say, well, hats off, if he's not running very well for Willie, maybe we won't go there. So the strategy is pretty simple, but it's finding those horses at affordable prices, because we don't like to overpay for them, and then putting them in the right races. I will say that it's harder now than it was 5 years ago, because we used to run at 20 or 25 and we were permanently full and be very selective. And people would ring me and say, oh, could I train this horse? And I'm really sorry, I can't. We don't have any spaces. We don't train those type of horses. Why don't you ring this person? But now we've got 65 boxes and an empty box. So I've got to be a little bit more commercial and say, well, actually, yeah, okay, well, of course we'll have a go. So when your percentage changes the numbers of horses that are being sent to you rather than you necessarily chose them, that could influence it. But we're still running at 17%. It's not too bad.
Yeah, so what, 17% this season, and
70% this season, 20% over 5 years. And remember as well, it also depends how your approach. With due respect to a 45 West, by choosing to handicap the horse, we're running it a few times when we know it can't win. So if you factor that in, if you said, well, what's the percentage of strike rate when you actually knew you had a competitive chance? it would be higher. But anyway, I know it's pretty satisfactory overall.
Good. Well, look, let's finish the last question, which again may be a tricky one for you to answer, but which Red Caps horse are you most excited about?
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to say, can I mention an ex-Red Cap horse? Just before, because just out of curiosity for chit chat, everyone, a horse I'm really looking forward to this year is Tiger Orchid. I mean, I say that with sort of a nervousness because we saw what happened, but I just want to remind, I'm sure everyone's aware that if anyone saw the county hurdle last week and saw Nicky Henderson nearly win it with First Street, who was second, fast finishing second, off 142, and will go up to about nearly 150, I would say, tomorrow. And remember that horse also was third in the Betfair hurdle before that. Well, you may also remember Worcester last summer and Tiger Orchid giving him £10 and a 7-length beating. So so it's so frustrating that Tiger Orchid has not yet translated his bumper ability into flat racing. Sorry, into hurdling. But my goodness, he's one to look forward to. I mean, we're trying our damnedest to get that horse as confident as possible in his hurdling, and we've already taken him for one away day. We go for another away day. Did an away day last season. Just taking him to lots of different places. So he's fine in our place at home, but he's trying to make sure that he somehow doesn't lose the plot when he goes to the racecourse. But he'll certainly be one to be. We'll probably know our fate after the first 3 hurdles. But at least it'll be exciting to see because he must have a big engine to have done what he did last year. So that he's one certainly on my list to follow. In terms of the Red Caps, which is I think the one I'm most excited about, but I don't expect to see it straight away, is Tip Top Tonto. And that's probably not what anyone else would choose, but I just have a hunch about him. Having looked at his pedigree, seen him jump, I just have a feeling, and he's a young horse, I just feeling that he's going to be 3 miles in stamina, and I think they've given up a bit quick on him, the previous people. So I do not expect that to happen in his first run or second run or even third run. But by the end of the summer, he might be the one we're thinking, yeah, we'd like to buy him and keep him and keep going with. But to be honest, you could make a case for any of them really in different ways, which is part of the fun. That's a bit of a pathetic answer, a cop-out. Who's your Dan? Who do you think? Who do you like best?
I think Mr. Woody's going to be the one to follow. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him. I can really see him giving everyone a lot of fun and a bit of success. And yeah, he again. I'm not going to sit on the fence. There we go, Mr. Woody.
Good, excellent. You should do a vote if you know how to do that. See the Red Cap supporters who likes which the best.
Maybe we'll do that, but we'll all make a fool of ourselves. So I think that's probably a very bad idea. So, but no, Richard, thank you very much indeed for your time this evening. Very much appreciated. And that we've had an awful lot of success so far this season with you, and hopefully an awful lot more to come over the summer. And really looking forward to it. And thank you very much to you and all your team for all the hard work that you're doing with the horses. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the racecourse very soon.
Thanks, Dan. Absolute pleasure. Cheers. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Well, that was Richard Newland, and thanks again for his time this evening. But thank you all very much for joining us. It's been a remarkable season so far for us. We're on 29 winners. I wonder if we can make it 30 winners on Wednesday. Let's good luck to everyone heading to Ludlow there, and we'll hopefully see everyone on a racecourse very soon. Thanks for joining us. Good night.